This episode is brought to you by America's Rehab Campus. Get on the road to recovery with the best rehab in beautiful Arizona. Dial 1-833-272-7342. That's 1-833-ARC-REHAB.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are now tuned in to the Armor.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Arcast. My name is Buddha, and I'm here today in the studio with another very special guest, guys. You know, it's been a huge blessing having the people that we have in here, and it's allowed the opportunity for me to be able to reconnect with a lot of different people, and that's including, you know, friends from school, things like that. The person that I have in the studio today, she reached out to me, and it just happened to be something that was fate, in all honesty, man, because I had her on my mind, and you know, the stars ended up aligning, and she's here in the studio with me today. We go all the way back. I don't even know if it was Mansfield or if it was just Tucson High, but we go all the way back, and It's a blessing to see her. She's doing fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Give it up to my homegirl, Kelly, aka Jesseca KB. There you go.
Thank you so much, but I just feel so grateful to be here and that we got connected this way and or we reconnected this way.
Absolutely.
And it's like, yeah, just like you said, the stars align, and I feel like I'm on some kind of TV show right now.
That's awesome.
I feel like my whole life is like a movie anyway. So.
Hey, you know, before we start, we got to mention she gave a little yelp right now. We gotta give a shout out to Sakura. We have Sakura here. We're gonna have to take a picture of her and put it up on the show notes. She's a poodle mix, right?
Yeah, she's a Bernie Doodle, so a Bernese Mountain Dog and poodle. She is a very interesting dog, very smart, very charismatic.
Oh yeah, she's sweet, man.
Yeah, she's a big, bubbly, cuddly, fluffy dog. She has a lot more hair normally, but this hair is a little bit short because, you know, we're in Arizona, so it's got to be shorter.
Oh yeah, absolutely. She's so sweet. She's walking around the studio right now just exploring everything. Yeah. She's literally right here, right in front of me. She's got this really cute sweater on too. So we're blessed to have her here in the studio today too. But no, dude, I think it's fantastic having you, and it's crazy. I'm trying to remember the timeline because of my memory's gotten so shitty over the years. But did you go to Mansfield too?
No, I didn't. But I went to Roscourge.
You went to Roscourge.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were in biology together. Or Mr. Case. Was it Mr. Case?
Bro, I am.
Whatever, you know.
Brain is shot. I recognize you from far. You were always super, super cool.
I just remember because, you know, my outfits were Converse, Levi jeans, and a black t-shirt. That was like my outfits all the time.
Yeah.
And I remember you told me, you're like, you kind of look like a Levi's model. And I was like, oh my gosh, do I really?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I don't remember anything, man.
Yeah, we had a couple science classes together.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's amazing to see you, and I'm glad that you're doing fantastic. I've been following your journey for a while. That's the really cool thing about the social media stuff is you kind of get to see what people are up to and what they're doing and stuff. And, you know, we had a little brief conversation before we started, and I had no clue that you were in recovery. I knew none of those things.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really use those terms, but I guess this is like the world here in recovery and stuff. I mean, I live a pretty sober life, but I did start using drugs when I was 12.
Wow.
So I do have a lot of experience with addiction personally, and people in my life, like both my parents, my mom, she was an addict before I was born.
Wow.
But my father, just, you know, alcoholic addict, mostly alcoholic though, majority of my life. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like, I have a lot of experience in that. And plus the careers that I've had of just living life and being human.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you experience all of these different things that just kind of come into your way. And it's like, so many of us we're conditionalized to believe that everything outside of us is what makes us feel. So it's like we have to ingest these things to make us feel a certain way. And drugs, they do. They chemically change you. They change your physiology because they mess with your hormones and they mess with like the way your brain chemistry is. And we're looking for all of these external things outside of us to make us feel a certain way. But we don't feel our feelings. And I mean, I don't know, I think that I kind of have to give myself a little bit credibility for people to really take my words into consideration. Like, I'm a nurse. I have a master's degree in nursing. Like, I worked as a nurse for 5 years. I just retired. I'm becoming a doctor in metaphysical sciences. So PhD, so not like a MD or anything, but I do have a huge knowledge base of the human body, of medical scenarios and situations, personally and professionally. But in all of these like instances that we're in society that we grow up in, it's like we're all grown up in this world and we're told all these things. We're told you are this, you look like this, so you must feel this way, you must act this way, blah, 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 blah. It's like all these things. And we're not in a natural state where we're supposed to be in tribes. We're supposed to be in a tribal kind of situation.
Yeah.
So of course we're going to look out to things to make us feel differently, to escape, which is what drugs do.
Man, that's so deep, and that's exactly where that saying comes from. It takes a village, type of thing.
Yeah,
you know,
it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to just be okay. That's like dogs they're naturally in packs.
Yeah,
dogs, they don't understand like the concept of time. They don't understand that we have to go to jobs and that we have to do all these things. They're just free, you know. But what they know how to do is they know how to love.
Yeah,
and that's something that we lost because of society and because of how we're conditionalized. When we're babies, we're love. We're pure love. We're pure understanding. There's things that happen to us outside of us, and there's all these things, and we don't fully understand or interpret. We don't see it as wrong or bad.
Yeah.
You know, it's like someone neglects us. We know how to voice our needs. We have no shame saying that we can't say this shit when we're babies, but when we're babies, we cry. We do a lot of things. We do a lot of things with our body to let our caretakers know that we need stuff.
Yeah.
And there is no shame in that. And from being conditionalized, that because of the way we look or because of the way our environment is, that we have to feel a certain way. So it's like we have lost our love. We have lost the ability to love and to receive love and to give love. But also we have given away so much of our power because we all believe that all of our emotions are from outside of us.
Man.
We don't all believe that, but many of us, most people do.
You know, it's very true what you're saying. I mean, this social construct that's built around us, you know, with everything from the buildings, the houses, the education systems, the roads, all of this stuff, man, it's so hard living in a world like this, especially with social media, with everything going on in the world, to really be able to center yourself. And it's, at least for me, I've noticed like literally those greatest things in life, like the family, the love, all of those emotions, and taking day at a time and really soaking up the moment, like being there in that moment. Those are all things that are free. You know what I'm saying? Like there's not anything you got to pay for, you know, and those are the things that create happiness, make me feel good. You know, it's not the money. It's not any of those types of things. And it's weird how all of us just get so far away from that.
It's a crazy world that we live in. So it's like completely understandable why people use drugs and why people drink alcohol. And I'm not advocating using drugs. I'm not advocating using chemical substances that cause harm to your body whatsoever. But it's completely understandable. We're out of a natural state of existing. And it's been like this for thousands of years because of a society that we've created where we're saying you should be shameful, you should feel shame, and you should feel guilty. And you shouldn't love yourself, and you shouldn't love other people, and you shouldn't love that there's no love in this world. It's just all shame and guilt. And it's like, there's so much more to life than all of these external things that we're chasing. Everyone is chasing, you know, I'm not saying this like from that I don't do this, because I'm freaking human and I've had a lot of trials. Like I've had a lot of trauma and I've had a lot of trials and tribulations that I've gone through that have taught me this, but we're always looking for something outside of us to feel good.
Yeah.
To make us feel secure. And it's like, there is no way to make sure that you're secure because this is an ever changing world. It's like this world is constantly changing. You don't know if the next step that you're going to take, if it's going to be there, because literally the ground could collapse. The sky could fall. And it's like, we're in this room right now, blessed and alive. When you're alive, you're fucking blessed. And you have no idea. If you can't see that, then there is a lot of deeper examination that you have to go inside of yourself instead of, you know, looking outside of yourself to feel. Because it's really all within. It's within yourself that you feel. And it really is like this is going to be like kind of a dodgeball kind of thing or something out of the corner of whatever. I don't know. But the whole purpose of life is to deepen our connection with God.
Amen.
And
amen.
People who go to that level of self-destruction to destroy their like perfect, beautiful body, to escape, is because there's so much self-hatred and so much shame and so much guilt under everything.
Well, the crazy shit about that is the fact that most people don't even understand. Like I'm a firm believer that if you don't see a mess, if you don't see something as a mess, it's impossible to clean it, right? So it's like most of these people that use substances like that, self-destruct, doing those types of behaviors, most of them are completely unaware unless they've ever been in some sort of a place that teaches them coping skills or shows them that there's a way out. Like a lot of us are conditioned and brought to feel like there's no other way, like there's no other option. Yeah. And that's like the common belief is that there's just so much turmoil in relationships and there's so much turmoil in this world. And it's like, it's not. There's so much more good than bad in this world. Yeah. And I don't like sweeping anything under the rug. I don't like pretending like things are a certain way when they're not, because it's important that we recognize both of our light and dark side. It's like I'm on a spiritual, like me, myself, I'm on a spiritual pathway and I like vibrating high and I like trying to increase my level of consciousness and feeling inner peace. But there is a dark side of me too, that it's not self-destructive as it used to be, thank God. But there's still pain within myself that I'm slowly unwinding. Like on the way over here, I got probably every single red light and I live downtown. Oh, wow. And most people, and including myself, like in the past, I would have been pissed. I would have been like, fucking, what the fuck, like I would have been pissed coming over here. I would have been like, I'm late. And I would have felt so many feelings of guilt and shame and embarrassment for being late. And then blaming the red lights and then the traffic and other people in the traffic. You made me fucking late. And it's like, we're taking so much of our responsibility, we give it away, and we do not take responsibility for our life's experience. And that's some of the things that I teach, is taking responsibility for our emotions and taking responsibility for our life. And literally, I felt so good on this way over here, even though I got to every goddamn red light. I'm just saying. No, it was actually it was a blessing. It was very beautiful to experience that, because I was... So yeah, there's gonna be noise.
Yeah, sorry, Sakura. She's like,
for all the listeners, there's no one outside yelling. There's just people everywhere.
Sakura, my dog, she's like, I'm not being paid attention to right now.
No, I think that was somebody outside.
Okay, I was like,
I don't think it was her.
She's like, I'm gonna get it twice.
No, she's good.
Come here. Yeah, just being on the way over here and getting all of the red lights, I felt immense joy for just existing. Yeah. And so many of us are like, oh, we have to get to a certain point. We have to do a choke, Yeah. And it's like, people are so missing out on the fact and the point of life. The point of life is to experience joy. And the purpose of us being here is to expand. And like the results of life is freedom.
For you to come in here and to have this in-depth wisdom and to understand these things, which I do agree, God is the sole purpose for us existing, being able to find him through the chaos of this world, right? It says in the book that I read in the Bible, it says that the road to righteousness is so narrow that most people won't find it. But the one to corruption is so wide that so many people are going to walk through it, I want to go back and kind of give the listeners a little bit of an understanding of who you are. Is that okay?
Of course, yeah. Go ahead. I mean, ask whatever.
Okay, so I want to ask you this. Where were you born here in Arizona?
I was born... I like, part of me and my personality is I like to be mysterious and weird. And okay, I know we know each other. So I want to be a little bit more open right now, because there's a greater purpose for it. But I like to say that I'm not from this planet, because I don't feel like I'm from this planet. I don't feel like I'm really human. I look extraordinary, or that I'm like, we are all individually amazing. Yeah. We just don't know how to shine.
Absolutely.
And I didn't know how to shine until the last couple of years. But yeah, I'm originally from Tucson, but I would say my true original home is called Enixta. It's this planet that's several galaxies away.
There you go.
So I'm an alien in a human body, like a really sexy lady body. So I'm like been blessed with this human body, and it's just me trying to figure out like my consciousness and my place in this world to help humanity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, growing up with stuff like that, I know you said that you had experienced a lot of different types of traumas and stuff like that. When did you initially start with like the substances, like dabbling and things like that? How old were you when all of that started for you?
I tried my first drug when I was 12 years old.
12 years old.
And I tried my first drug. It was just weed, but very quickly after that, I started using opioids, and I gradually and quickly went to cocaine and methamphetamine and like ecstasy and a lot of other substances and alcohol too. And it was all so much because I hated myself. I could not stand myself. I hated existing. I didn't understand my existence. I was like, what is wrong with me? Why do I look this way? Why is my skin color this way? Why do I feel a certain way? Why is this? And it was crazy because I was like an angel child. I was so happy. And I was like just a relief to people as a child.
Okay.
But as soon as I started my period, that's
changed.
when everything changed. And it's just because this is something that I was not familiar with. Like all of these concepts that I know now are new to me as of the past 3 years of my life. And it's because of a lot of studies I've done myself. I've done a lot of research. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos. I've read a ton of books, and I've gotten a lot of counseling and life coaching that have helped me. But at that time, I didn't understand that what I was experiencing was like normal. And I just didn't know how to reach out to say, like, hey, Mom, I don't feel good. Something's wrong. And it like goes back to, for women especially, we experience our grandmother when our mother is in womb with their mother. So as a woman, as a female, you develop your ovum, your eggs in vitro. So when you're a baby, you're a fetus. When I don't remember how many weeks it is, I think it's 24 weeks that when you're a female. I could be wrong about the weeks. I don't do OBGYN.
It's okay.
I don't do OBGYN stuff. And it's like, I don't know the timeline, but you develop your eggs. So it's like you literally are in your grandmother's womb. When you're a female, does that make sense?
Wow.
It's like your grandma, she has eggs. She released an egg. That egg got implanted with a sperm and created your mother. And your mother was developed in her womb. And when your mother was developed, her ovums were developed. Her eggs were developed inside of when she was in her grandma. So it's like you were in your grandmother as a female. Men don't experience that because men don't have ovums. Men don't have eggs. So they experience trauma just up until their father and their mother, biologically.
Okay.
So, but now what I've learned is like all of the pain that I felt was unresolved trauma from my grandmother and my mother.
Wow.
And like my ancestors, like all of our ancestors, doesn't matter what lineage you have, like all of our ancestors have been through something. We have been through something. And it's like we're holding on to that. It's like when we pass that on to our next generations, it's like we're passing that trauma down to each generation. So it's like if you're not unwinding this trauma and healing it, then it's just going to pass through. That was just my take on my personal experience of starting my period at 12. I experienced extreme self-hatred, extreme isolation, extreme loneliness, extreme guilt and shame, and just a lot of hate. And
did that come from any, external factors like other than just, stuff like what type of, you were just experiencing that type of stuff in your household?
Yeah. Really? I did not have a loving home. My sister was very abusive to me. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, sibling abuse, it's whatever. And it's like, no, it's not. It's like, it's not healthy. It's not okay to let your kids abuse each other. And my sister, she was being abused by my father. So she was being hurt, and she, so it's like my sister has her own, like we all have our own life individually. Yeah. But there's a cascade effect on all these things. But
hurt people.
Yes, hurt people do hurt people. But the thing is like, I didn't know that I did not have to feel that way. I didn't know that I was good because I thought that I was bad. I have a Catholic upbringing. I used to be Catholic. And, the Catholic Church teaches a lot of self-hatred and guilt and shame. And it's like, you should be shameful for being human and having all of these things. And it's like, we're human. It's like we need services for one thing.
Yeah.
We're biological, psychophysical units. Like we have specific needs. We need to eat food. We need to drink water. And part of for the psychosocial aspect, we need to have sex. We need to be in tribes, or we need to be among people.
Yeah.
Those are things. And it's like, we're taught to stay in toxic relationships that even if it's like someone is saying this to you or doing something to you, that you have to stay in it. It's like, no.
Yeah.
We don't, just because they're family or just because you've known them for a long time or they're friends or whatever. It's like, if they're treating you bad, it's because they feel bad about themselves.
Well, it's a trip that you said that about the Catholic Church, because same here. Like, my wife is still Catholic, and so I'm Christian, she's Catholic, right? And it used to start like a little bit of a division in the home, like when we first had the kids, you know. But in reality, man, like as I've gotten older and I've searched, and I've really gotten deeper in it, I have found a very cool, unique type of a peace between both avenues. Like whereas the ritualistic part of it, like going back to, biblical terms and stuff where they're talking about the Ark of the Covenant and all of these ritualistic things, like to me, that's what I get out of it now. So it's like for the Christian church, it's allowed me to have the relationship, which I think is how, like you said, the being able to find God, being able to have a relationship and speak and pray and do these things to find my inner self. But with the Catholic part of it, it's like the appreciation now of all of the ritualistic parts of it, because it kind of just takes me back to that old school time. It wasn't the church per se, it was the people that were there. Like that was my biggest issue with it, was just the people were just very... we're not supposed to judge, but damn, I can't even wear shorts. Like, you know what I'm saying? And walk into this building without shorts on. You know what I mean? Like that was the stuff I struggled with that.
Yeah. So there's so much validity in religion, and religion's not bad. And I don't want to say that it's wrong, or I don't believe in good or bad.
Yeah.
And that saying something right or wrong. But there are certain degrees of what is the truth.
Yeah.
Like no religion has truth, but truth is within it all. Because if you look at the scriptures and of all religions along the lines of Christianity, Catholicism, Presbyterian, Judaism, it's all good, because it teaches people do not see the true message in the Bible. There's so much validity in it, but it was also written by man, and there's incest and rape in it, and there's proactiveness about slavery in the Bible. And it's that's not right. I don't want to enslave anyone. God does not want to enslave anyone. But the huge thing is that it is teaching us, what religion teaches us is that it's all light and God is above us.
Absolutely.
But there's the yin yang to life.
Yep.
There's the light and the dark side that we have to, have a balance with, but that God is within us.
Yeah. Absolutely.
God is all around us, but God, we truly all are God. Every single person is God. And one thing I learned when I was in Catholic school, I wasn't in Catholic, I was in catechism school, that when there's someone that is treating you a certain way or that you have a disagreement with, that to put Jesus in them. And it's your opinion about them changes and your heart softens.
Yeah.
And we have so much hatred and judgment and confusion and control about other people outside of us, But it's we really are all one. We are all one consciousness. We all came from the same exact source of life, which is life. And it's so many of us think that it's these people outside of us that are the problem. And it's no, you are your own fucking problem.
That's the only thing.
Everyone is their own fucking problem. Okay.
That's it.
Yeah. And it's if you're going to project and do all these things outside of you to make yourself feel better, it doesn't work. It's just deepening the pain that you have inside. There's a new community that I just came into that have taught me so much about, it's like, it's okay to have needs. It's okay to express your needs. And it's like, if someone doesn't want to work with you or won't recognize that, then it's just fucking unhealthy.
Yeah.
And that's just like, it's furthering more trauma between us. It's like, we all have to have patience for each other. Like, no one questions a baby. I'm sure people are like, why is that baby crying?
Shut that baby up. Shut that baby up.
Yes, people do that. But the baby doesn't care that they're crying. They cry because that's their truth.
Uh-huh.
But people don't question why they need to feed a baby.
Yeah.
They're never like, why do I need to change a baby? I'm sure there's people out there that are like, why do I have to do this? Why do I do that? That's fine. But the nature of it, the true natural process of taking care of a baby, there is nothing that the baby has to do or tell you. It is an energetic pool. It's an energetic thing that we all know. And this is something that we have within us. We all have energy within us that gets transformed as life goes on. And as a baby, we are a pure form of energy of love. And then because of the conditionalization and our external environments and our experiences and like our home life experience and our school life experience, whatever it is, it changes that. But it's like when we have to turn inside of ourselves, return to the true essence of life is to feel joy, but like also have a huge connection with God.
I really feel like you're absolutely right with a lot of things, man. Like, I'm very curious too. You said that experiencing the trauma, getting abused by your older sibling and stuff like that, that situation or whatever situations, we don't need to go into too much detail, but were those things that happened to you when you were pretty young or as you got older?
Yeah, when I was young. Yeah, I experienced and I'm not the only person. There's so many like men and women. It's like, and there's so much stereotype around men being sexually assaulted. And it's like, it's okay for men to have experienced that. It's like, we all experience it. There's so many men that do, and they harbor and they hold so much shame inside because of that. And they don't let it out. But it's like, those were, I can freely talk about that now without any burdensome or problems or whatever, but it's like that's something that I experienced multiple times throughout my life.
So that was
as an adult too.
So that was part of the energy that you were holding on to as a confused young little girl, just like all of these different feelings, which is probably what produced the hate and all the aggression and the anger and stuff that you felt growing up.
Yeah.
As far as school goes, like when you were in school and doing things like that, did it ever affect you academically, or have you always been? I was a
bad girl. I was bad.
For real?
Yeah, I was bad, dude. I was ditching school and I was doing crazy shit. I was like doing drugs and like I was just I was smoking, like just doing stupid things at school.
Dude, I don't know what it is, but like
I'm a very gifted person in mischief
in the mischievous arts.
Yes.
No shit, dude. See, and see, like for me, me from high school, right?
Yeah.
I was always trying to fit in, always fucking trying to be something that I wasn't. Always, right? And I felt like people looked at me like, yo, this dude is a fuck up because I failed 8th grade and then I dropped out of high school and then I had to I didn't get my diploma till I was 21, like an actual diploma. So like I would look at people like you in class and think like, damn, bro, this is what my mom wants me to do. Like she wants me to be good.
Was
like
fucking
that's crazy. I didn't even know that.
What? It's so funny that was your perception, because I remember looking at you and I was like, I loved how much confidence you had. Like you would like rap battle with other people in school and there would just be like crowds of people around you. And I was just like, I was just so like, I was like pro Buddha. I was like, he's so cool. I was like, I'm so proud of him. And I'm just like, he's going to be something. He's going to be something so much bigger.
Thank you for saying that. I mean,
I had no idea that you failed all those whatever. And it's like,
yeah, I did. I mean, it's failing 8th grade and then watching all your friends go to high school and then you come back as a freshman when they're sophomores. And it's just like, dude, my whole experience of high school was trying to fit in, not feeling like it's weird. So thank you for that. Because I've learned now as I'm older, like the perception of myself, that is all bullshit. Like, you lie. Yourself lies to yourself. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's crazy because I never fucking saw it that way. And I always think, what would it have been had somebody opened my eyes to that at that point? But I don't think the universe was ready for that. There was a reason why I had to go through that shit too at the same time. We can't
see or hear what we're incapable of.
Yeah.
There's, it's like not everyone is supposed to awaken in this lifetime. It's like people are asleep or they're awake.
Go their whole lives.
There's still moments where I am asleep, but I have awoken to a certain extent. And it's because I'm expanding my identity. So many people have a limited identity that it's like you're supposed to go to school and you're supposed to follow your friends. And you're like, I'm only reflecting on what you said right now is like how you felt behind and you felt like a loser and that you felt that you failed because you were behind your friends. And it's like the exact opposite. You were winning. It may have been not the best situation, but it's like because of like our environment and us not listening to our intuition and us not being connected with God and with nature and with like the true divinity that we have. It's like we don't listen to it, and it's like there are like winning and losing in life. Life is a game. Okay. But if, it's like I look back, like as you were saying that you didn't see like the perception that I'm telling you of, like you couldn't see that. And I hope that you can see like how good your life was. Like, even though you failed, quote unquote, it was still good because it's like not a lot of people have experienced being disabled, and I have. And I feel like it's been a privilege because I'm doing really well right now, but without having experienced that, I don't think I would have really understood like so many things. I don't know how to explain it.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely, I mean, it's the, we've talked about this before where it's like if someone had the opportunity, let's say every police officer at one point was a troublemaker and then they refined themselves and became a police officer, it would be so much better to talk to them because they've experienced and they understand. And I think there's an understanding. It's a weird analogy that I'm saying, but I feel like going through the hardships and experiencing them, even though it might not have been pleasant for me or for you during those times when we were experiencing them, now that we're older and we see the bigger picture and we have faith in all of these things, like now it's you don't take anything for granted. Like everything is meant to happen as it should.
Blessing.
Exactly. Did I get that right?
Yeah. Did I cut you off?
No. You're fine. You're fine. Don't worry about that.
The thing is that we have to see that God really is in everything. Every single thing. God is there. And that's why our limited identities in this society are keeping us down and in a low vibration and turning to drugs and alcohol to escape. Okay? Because we are powerful human beings. We are so much more than what we're told we're capable of. It's like having a divine connection with a higher power. You can do so much more. It's like, I don't know if you've experienced like a higher state of consciousness before.
Man, I mean, when are you a fan of Alanis Morissette by any chance?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I saw her in concert.
So she's my favorite female artist, right? And then that song, Thank You.
I love that.
And on that song, Thank You, when she says, it wasn't until I jumped off of it until I touched down, right? It wasn't until I jumped off of it until I touched down, when she's talking about India and her experiences and things like that. When my heart finally opened up to the faith and having a relationship with my higher power, everything changed. Like the way I saw everything. That's the only thing that I can, when you say that higher feeling of consciousness, like that's the only thing that I feel has really made a huge impact on me, like mentally, spiritually, everything is just that connection with my higher power.
That's beautiful. Yeah, it's different for everyone. Everyone has different experiences. And
I'm so jealous that you saw Alanis, dude. She fucking married a rapper. I was like, dude, there's a chance, bro. Like,
you know what? It was so weird that I went to her concert too. It's like I met this guy at a car dealership.
It's crazy.
And he was helping me with my car or whatever. And then like we hung out. And then like all this stuff happened. And he's like, I'm going to this Alanis Morissette concert. Do you want to come? And I was like, oh, okay. Right. I actually think I invited myself. So. Man. But I got like a ticket to go in, and it was like so those are like gifts from God. Not just because I went to a Alanis Morissette concert, but I'm just
pretty damn close.
It's like every single moment in life is a gift. When you're alive, everything is good. Man. And even though there's like the hard times, there's difficult times, like it's okay. That's why I think it's important to balance the light and the dark side, the yin yang, the Chinese symbol that expresses life. There is, just like the sun and the moon, there is a sun and there is a moon. That is a fact. There is like so many signs from nature and from Mother Earth and from God that we have these two duality sides and we have to work with them. And it's okay. It's just having a balance with it. It's like everything in moderation. But one thing that I like to teach is that, you move trauma through movement. You have to move your trauma out of your body. Okay. And the real reason why my life has like exploded into this version that I am today is because of strippers.
Strippers.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna need some context there. Because I've been to a strip club in my younger days and I never
love strippers. Okay. Over COVID, like I am a registered nurse and I was working like after I recovered from the injury that I had, because at the beginning of COVID, I had an injury and I was bedridden for about a month. And
what happened?
I was skateboarding and I fell.
Okay. All right, cool. It happens. I got on a skateboard in my garage the other day and I stood on it and I was like, fuck. I was like, yep, I'm not doing this. So I stopped. I retired immediately.
I'm going to touch base back on that in a second.
Okay.
I like that.
We'll go back to it.
I like that. So I returned to work and I don't know what people are so confused about. They're like, since COVID. And I'm like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. People were fucking sick before COVID.
Yeah.
People were fucking in the hospital before COVID.
People allow the fear to take over their life.
Yeah, it's
That's
like
what it is.
People were fucked up before COVID. It's like,
dude, we were just talking to one of my wife's family members, and not to cut you off, we'll get back to it, but like she was talking about like she doesn't have a good relationship with her sister anymore because since COVID, I guess this girl didn't go to like her wedding. This girl didn't go to a funeral. She's like completely has allowed this COVID shit to take over her life to the point where she doesn't even live anymore. Like she won't go anywhere. How miserable is that, dude? Like
it's
you talk
not
about
living
people,
life. Yeah.
Yeah. You talk about people being asleep their whole life. That's exactly what that means, bro. Those are the same people going out there buying fucking toilet paper at Costco and making my ass stand in line for 2 hours type of shit. Like it's just crazy to me.
See, the thing about waiting in line is there's so much beauty in it because you're existing.
No, I get it.
And
but
you're like you don't even think about what your body is doing for you. Like there's an inner intelligence, like your heart's beating, your lungs are breathing, your intestines are doing all these things, they're moving all kinds of things in there for you to be existing. It's like every single moment that you have alive is to be found in joy.
Yes. No, I agree.
And
I agree.
No, like I don't want to make you feel like what you were saying is wrong, because that was not wrong. That was so beautiful. But it's like so many of us are stuck on all of these things outside of us. Like, oh, this happened. Well, so I feel this way. And it's like,
yeah,
you have no idea how good you are. You need to feel good.
No. You're right. it's just, that whole situation. I just can't.
You're bothered by
it's not necessarily bothered. I'm sad for people to know, because it's not me, right? I mean, I'm blessed to be where I'm at today with everything. It's sad to think that people allow that type of a fear to have such a control in their life that where they're not.
It is
anymore.
what it is, and it's their life, and it sucks.
Yeah.
But it's like, we cannot bring a horse to water and make them drink it. It's everyone's choice to change their life. And us trying to fix people and fix things outside of us is not going to fix us.
Yeah.
Inside. We have to work on ourselves. And that can be a little bit confusing. But, it's like what we can do is we have to pass immense compassion, unconditional love, like unconditional understanding. And that can be difficult, because if we can't even turn to ourselves and do that, how can we do that for someone else?
That's so true.
It's so true. So back to COVID.
Okay.
Just to get a recap. Okay. Because I always thought that if my body looked a certain way, if I had certain like clothes, if I had like specific materialistic things, then I was going to be happy. But that was not the fucking case. Because over COVID, I made a ton of money. I got rich.
Really?
Oh yeah, baby.
How'd you do that?
I'm like, girl, no, I'm just kidding. Because the COVID money was so much for the medical world.
Oh, okay.
It was a booming business. Okay, the hospital has always been a booming business in the Western medicine field. And that is a whole nother freaking loophole.
Oh, yeah.
Not loophole, but it's a whole nother discussion to have about the reason
why that is.
Like
yeah.
I am so I like 100% support all medicine, but I am like, I will fight for trauma medicine. That is like, but the other medicines, I'm just like, I don't feel that they're necessary because people can prevent all of these chronic illnesses. That's not natural to be on a medication. It's not natural. I made a lot of money over COVID because I worked a lot. And, it's like our pay was increased as nurses because of just this, like, I don't know what they're talking about. They're just like, oh, COVID, it's just harder. And I'm just like, it was always hard. It was all like, I want to rephrase that. I personally feel that nursing is an easy job. I'm not conceited, but I'm very smart. And it's like, it's not that hard of a job when you're trained and like the ins and outs of a body of machines and the machines that you're working with and medications. When you have like a degree of understanding of these components and putting them together, it's easy, but it's fucking demanding. It is such a demanding job.
What kind of nurse were you?
I worked over COVID. Okay. So I have experience in med surge, wound care, post-critical care, ICU, and ER.
Oh, fuck.
And trauma stuff.
I love the ER.
Yeah. It's a different life. The Western medicine world it's a whole TV show.
Yeah.
But I worked a lot. I worked a lot of hours and I was compensated, which was really nice. And that was the first time I experienced having money. And that kind of just like, it made me look at myself and I'm just like, I have everything that I ever dreamed of. Why do I not feel better?
Oh, that's where it started.
Yeah. Why don't I feel good? Why? And I was sober for a big portion of time, but then I don't want to say I relapsed. It wasn't anything like that, but I started drinking and smoking weed again. And I did coke a couple times and I did like some benzo sometimes, but like I was married for 10 years, by the way. No shit, and then this was like, I broke up with him and we got divorced, but and then COVID happened.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was just like very isolated. Like I went from like a family unit, like I had a family, or not that I had my own personal family, but I was involved in a family, and then going from completely to being alone.
So that was like the coal to the diamond phase right there. Like everything you experienced, the marriage, all of these things.
Yeah.
And then COVID on top of it is the beautiful cherry on top. And somewhere between all of that hard work and the stress, and you just became a diamond pretty much.
Yeah. I was just trying to find myself because I was really insecure. I felt I had no support. I didn't know how to support myself in terms of emotional wise. Like I didn't know.
Any babies or anything? Do you have?
No, I don't have any kids.
Oh, okay.
I don't have any kids at this moment. But I was so emotionally dependent on external circumstances. Like I was like, why can't these things make me feel this way? I thought that this was supposed to make me happy. I thought that it was supposed to be like this. Like I thought that this is how life is if something outside of me is this way. And it's not like that. And I went to like a really deep self-exploration of like my feelings and my emotions. And why do I feel so much I have been through a lot of trauma. So it's like, I just didn't know how to heal that trauma.
Yeah.
It's like we go through really hard times in this life and it's like, we need to be cared for.
And what about the experience of working in the field that you were in during the pandemic? Did that play a part in the depression or whatever you were feeling on the inside? Like, because we've talked a lot here, and he always talks about this ladle bucket analogy where it's like, we're like this bucket and we constantly fill up others, right? Yeah. And I see you as a nurse, you're helping people, you're literally saving lives, dude. I've seen ICU nurses when they have the trees and all the medications and having to know all the
crazy, dude.
Like you're filling up all of these people buckets, but it didn't seem, at least to me, correct me if I'm wrong, but it didn't seem like you had a way to refill yourself back up.
Exactly. That's why I went to the strip club.
Damn. Okay. So now we're back to the strippers. Here, you know what? This is for you.
Hey, I blew thousands of dollars there. Snoop Dogg.
There you go. There you go.
See, the thing is like in this world that we're in, this modern world, I don't think it's reasonable to not have something as an outlet. Like if we're not in nature and we're not amongst like nature and animals, and we're so involved in all this technology and all of these like societal things and culture, and like, you know, we got to be in the line with the culture and society and school and work and our family and blah, you know, it's like we have to fit in all these boxes that it's all teaching us of how to be, and it's all teaching us to not be ourselves, to not be authentic. And I don't remember where I was going with that.
Well,
the outlet. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the strip
So
clubs.
it's like, so I worked a ton over COVID. Like I worked 5-6 days a week for a couple years.
Dude, I remember seeing you during COVID. You didn't post very often back then, but I remember seeing pictures of you in your scrubs and stuff like at the nurses stations.
You know, and I started travel nursing, which was amazing because traveling really got me to like see different things of the world. And I travel within the US. Like I've been to other countries and stuff. But traveling around and like getting out of your environment and like seeing different ways of things, it kind of makes you think like, oh, maybe my way is not the only way. Maybe the way I think isn't the only way.
Yeah.
Maybe the way I live isn't the only, because it's not the only way. There's multiple different ways of experiencing life. So like I traveled to Wisconsin, and which was amazing. I love Wisconsin.
Shout out to Justin and Grace out there in Chippewa
I
Falls.
love Wisconsin. I don't know why. It's like, but the town I worked in was so like clean and cute. There was like, no one was being shot. No one was being stabbed.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like,
a lot of alcohol there. Apparently people are drunk as fuck.
Yeah, Wisconsin. And they got a lot of cheese too. And like, I don't know. And then I went to New York. But when I was here in Arizona, I worked at Banner, and it was just crazy making that much money. I made $7,000 a week.
Damn.
Yeah. But it's not like I didn't do the work. I put in fucking work, and I was reprimanded for the work that I was putting in. And I was given money that, you know, I was paid the money that I deserved. And so were all the other nurses.
No, I mean, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and I'm not the only one. There was like not every single nurse. Okay, there's a lot of great nurses out there, but there are some that are bad apples. And that is what it is. But a lot of nurses that put in the work, we were reprimanded for the work that we put in. And I'm just so grateful for that. I'm grateful for it was a really difficult time for so many people in the world. You know, just like the isolation, the solitude, and just people just not having that connectiveness like in person again.
Yeah, man,
and
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's
even
just
thinking about that. Thank God we're talking in past tense, like for real.
Seriously, but you know, I feel like I think back and I'm just like, oh, I wish my COVID experience was different or whatever. But it's like I experienced what I experienced because that's what I had to experience.
Yeah.
And I experienced extreme isolation and solitude, and not solitude in a self-reflective way, but in a way that I was like self-loathing, depressed, looking for things outside of me to feel better. So I made all this money. I started buying all these things. I started having all these crazy, I call them COVID parties. By the way, no one got COVID at any of the parties that I threw, but I had like extravagant parties. I had parties where I would hire a chef and I would hire servers, and it was girls from the strip club, and they would be in lingerie, and we would just have like fucking fun. It was like, you know, it's like I want to have these, you know, as I see these things in movies, and I'm like, I want to have this kind of experience. So it just had like some baller ass like experience. Yeah. So it's like I experienced having money for the first time, and that changed my life.
Damn, that's
was
cool.
Yeah, it was so nice. And I was just like, it still was, again, another reflection. It's just like, I have all this money and I have all these things outside of me. Why do I not feel complete? Why do I not feel good? So one of the nights that I was at the club, I'm straight, but you know, I love strip clubs and I love strippers because just the way that they move their body in terms of freedom, how free they are to move their body, the talent, the flexibility, the flow of dance. And I made friends with some of the girls, and I was like, I'm like, you probably have been a dancer your entire life. And they're like, no, I started dancing like a year ago or 2 years. I'm just like, what? I'm like, there's no fucking way. I'm like, that's crazy. So then they're like, just fucking take a pole class, dumbass. And I was like, they didn't say it to me like that, but that's pretty much what the universe was telling me.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until maybe a year later that I started dancing pole. Like I was working in LA, not dancing, but training in it.
Yeah.
I was working in LA and I felt this out of nowhere. I felt this extreme impulse and desire to learn pole dancing. And I was like, it was unexplainable. It was like I was having a baby. I was like, I have to do this. I have to work the pole.
Wow.
So I took my first class in LA and I was so weak. I was overweight. I was like, I'm a small woman, but I was 40 pounds more than I am right now. And I had no flexibility.
Wow.
I had like no upper body strength. I couldn't do all these things. And like even standing next to the pole was like impossible for me. I was like, oh my God, this is like, I can't do this. And I felt so much shame for that. And because of that shame and embarrassment I said, I'm going to fucking work at this. So I started going to, it's known as Kinetic Arts, but they're changing, but it's a pole like aerial studio. And I started going there 5-6 days a week.
Damn, that's dope.
And my life fucking changed.
And it's like, I mean, you're not, we're talking about the art form of it and learning how to move your body that way. So it's like being at the gym every single day.
It's more than that.
You said 5-6 days a week.
Yeah. I started training in pole at first. The first year I just did pole because I was like, I'm not going to do any other apparatus. I'm addicted to the pole. And I incorporated that with flexibility training.
Mm-hmm.
And within 2 or 3 months after starting pole dancing, I got a private, what do you call gym person?
Like a personal trainer?
Yeah, personal trainer. He was an online person. It's called Mo Fitness. He's amazing. But I started going with him. So I was working in New York City and in Brooklyn. And
during COVID too?
Yeah.
Fuck, that must have been an experience.
But this was like in 2021, 2022.
All right.
2022.
It wasn't bodies in the streets.
No.
It was a little bit different.
No, it was a year after that. So it was like the second year of COVID. But I was working 3 days a week, 7 a.m. to like 10 p.m.
Damn.
And then I would still go to the gym after work for 2 hours to lift weights and stretch. And my days off, I would be at Body and Pole, a dance training or dance school in New York City. And I just worked really fun. It was really painful, but I just worked really hard. And now I'm very strong. I'm very flexible now. And that was 2.5 years ago.
Good for you, man. And
I've lost 40 pounds. And it's just like, I want to gain that weight back because, it's nice being a little thick.
Yeah.
But that's just a natural process of like changing your diet and working out.
I get it completely. I do a lot of, not to make it about me, but just to kind of show there's a lot of similarities.
Please make it about you.
There's a lot of similarities in your story that, like for me, I've always been a bigger dude, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I had the same kind of epiphany about like my health. And for me, it was gymnastics. I started following people online that were doing these push-ups, like plant push-ups, where they would just lift their entire body weight off of the ground, right? And their feet would be off the ground. And people were on the pull-up bars, and they were just pulling themselves all the way up and coming down. And I thought, dude, that looks so fucking freeing. It looks so beautiful and so freeing, right? And that was kind of my thing. As I started intermittent fasting, and I'm wearing this big ass jacket. I got a little bit of a stomach, but I've been into like working out like hardcore, and that's my ultimate goal is like I just the freedom of being able to lift my body and to do those types of things and to experience that freedom. Like I want to be that dude in the gym that people see and they're like, this fucking guy's insane. And it's like, yes, I am. Absolutely.
I am.
I am insane. You know what I mean? Like calisthenics. I fell in love with calisthenics.
I love calisthenics.
It's my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so beautiful.
Yeah. No, for real.
You don't have to have the beauty of pole and aerial dance is you don't have to have a body type. Like you have to have a body, of course. Like physically, you have to. Yeah, you can't just be this. You can be an energy, but physically you have to be there. And it's like I've danced with girls who are really thick, like really big girls, and they're amazing on the pole. It's like, why is it that just because your body looks a certain way that you can't dance a pole. And that's what pole teaches. That's what aerial dance teaches, is like, you are accepted. You are free to express yourself.
Yeah.
And that's why it's like so many people are struggling so much in this world, because they're not their authentic selves, and they're not expressing themselves. They're not creating. They're not doing art.
And it's held to those same limitations, right? Like for someone who's closed-minded, they would think, dude, there's no way I would get on a pole. Strippers do that. If I've seen strip clubs, blah, blah, blah. They would have these stupid thought processes of like, no, I can't do that because of what it represents or what people will think or whatever.
Yes.
And for you, it's like, hey, look at how beautiful these women are moving on this pole. They could lift their bodies up. They're healthy. They're graceful.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're seeing it from a completely different perspective, but it's a choice.
But the thing is like, I used to have that perspective. Like, the stereotype is that like, all strippers are drug addicts. Strippers, they're prostitutes, that they probably have diseases. And it's like, that's not the fucking truth.
Yeah.
Like, you know, everyone's story, trust me, there are girls, or not just girls, but people that are strippers that do have that kind of lifestyle, and that's okay. But most strippers are really elevated people. A lot of strippers are, not all, but a lot of them are, because they've had that, especially starting from no dance background, no like connection with the body, having no flexibility, and not having these things, and then having like a transformative life experience. True life transforming experiences happens when you have physical changes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Like, okay, 2.5 years ago, I could not do the splits. I could not touch my hands on the ground. I could lay my hands flat on the ground. I could do the splits at any given moment. I could put my leg behind my head. Like, I can do all these things and it's not just like the stereotype that it's all sexual. It's an art expression. It's an expression. And I know some people would be like, oh no, it's just whatever. And it's like, motherfucker, I went to school before.
Yeah.
And like, I'm becoming a doctor, and I'm like so pro strippers.
Yeah.
I'm so pro, like, not just strippers, but I mean, I don't mean to take this out of context, but having an expression of whatever it is for you, that is your way of doing things to express your soul's purpose. It's like, we're here for our soul's purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, we turn to things like drugs, we turn to escapism, we scroll on our phone, we overeat, we eat this or that, or we escape in sex, or we escape in relationships, and we do all these things. We escape into judgment of other people, and we escape into looking outside of ourselves. But it's coming back, looking inside of ourselves. And I know that may sound a little bit confusing, but it's like, we really have to take responsibility. And that's the number one thing, is taking responsibility. Responsibility for the way we feel in our life experience, because no one reached their hand inside of your body and turned on your hormones, because your feelings and your emotions are a pattern of conditionalized and conceptualized stereotypes and belief systems that you've picked up over the years. So you feel a certain way if someone says something, because you can trace it all the way back to the beginning of time, honestly.
Yeah.
But it's like, in whatever way that you want to express yourself, that's your way. My way is through aerial dance. I love aerial dance. And it transformed my life. That this is something that has helped me evolve. Yeah. And it's not the only thing. Like, reading a lot of books, journal. I haven't really journaled. I'm not a big journaler. I used to journal a lot, but I think that, like, doing video recording, I record myself a lot. I have a YouTube channel where I talk about a lot of different things. Yeah. And
check the show notes of the episode, guys.
Yeah. The biggest thing, though, is movement.
Yeah.
And stretching.
And that was the big thing for you, was once all this stress, working in the environment that you were at, having an outlet, you had these cool ass COVID parties at your house with strippers, right? But it was it the She's so giddy every time we say it.
I know. I have such a wild life, and it's so scandalous, and it's like out of the completely out of the norm of the way people are like, oh, you only see that in movies, or it's like, oh, you shouldn't do that because then people are gonna judge you.
It's so funny though, but it's not like looking from an outsider's perspective. Like for me, it doesn't look like it doesn't look anything like that.
It's just wild, and it's wild
just
to
cool,
the norm.
yeah.
Yeah, it is cool.
Yeah, it's just different and unique. It's very unique.
I think that the most understanding communities of that are from the hip hop community. And I think that the hip hop community is the most understanding.
Bro, even this community, like that's the beautiful thing that I've noticed about recovery and people that have, really, because a lot of it is people finding their higher power, finding a purpose, finding, all these things. But I mean, I'm telling you, it almost seems like people that are more prone to active addiction, there's something about, I don't know if this is science or not, but I feel like people that are more prone to substance abuse are super intelligent. Like for the most part, almost everybody I talk to when they're sober, they're like the most creative, most unique, like beautiful spirit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The thing is that every single human being is.
Yeah.
We all are. But the school systems, it's like there was a study done that checked like these children's level of genius. They were all geniuses. But then after they went to school, like for 5 or 10 years, then their level of like it would drop so much. Like we're all geniuses, but the systems that we have in place are not benefiting us. They're not for us. They're not allowing us to expand. Like we're supposed to be here as human beings to expand and evolve. It's like, that's why we're here, is evolving.
And, maybe you're right. Maybe everyone, and I've never really thought of it like that, if I'm being honest. Maybe everyone does have something special, like an untapped superpower that needs to get tapped into, right?
It's hidden.
But maybe this type of environment allows, a healing environment in general, allows for somebody to change their perspective.
Yeah.
And allow that to start growing. And,
it's all energy.
Yeah.
Like we have these, so I'm becoming a doctor.
Hey, dude, speak it proud, bro. That's beautiful shit. I would be. It's like if I was in shape, I wouldn't even have a shirt on right now, bro. Like, just speak it.
I love joking. I love being happy, and I love just having fun all the time. That's like my thing. It's just like I want to make people feel good. I want people to have fun.
Yeah.
And it's like there's sometimes where I do challenge people, and that's good. I think challenging people is good. And I'm getting better about it because I've been a people pleaser for such a huge portion of my life, but I'm getting
that's so dope
less
that
of
you
a people
acknowledge
pleaser.
that.
Yeah, fuck yeah, we all are people pleasers. And to a certain extent, not everyone. There's some people that are just naturally that know their way, which is so admirable, and I love that. But
there's a deficiency somewhere else, though.
Yeah. But no, I'm getting my PhD in metaphysical sciences, and metaphysics is like, it is about, how do I say? It's like our relationship with God.
Yeah.
On an energetic level, and an internal level, and a psychic level. It's like we're these psychophysical units as a human. Like I'm in this meat suit, you're in your meat suit. We all have our own meat suits. It's like we existed before we became. Before we became into this body, we were something. We were energy, we were love, we were pure consciousness. And then we came into this body and we grew from a baby. And it's like when we die, where do we go? We return back to the collective consciousness of love, with God, with all eternity. And God is within us, God is around us. And there's still like a lot of fears, limitations I put on myself. And I'm not perfect. There are times where I feel sad. I believe that I cured my depression. I know I cured my depression naturally, but there still are some times where I feel sad. And it's because we are all connected psychically. That's where I was going with this. Is like we're all connected psychically. Like the way that we think, the way that we think about ourselves, the way we think about other people, it's all a projection back to ourselves. And it's like we can change our lives with our thoughts.
So do you believe in the power of manifestation, like putting something out in the universe?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Manifesting is the law of attraction. Like that's
the secret.
I'm really into that, and I'm a strong manifester myself. But there are some things that, I don't know how to manifest. But the thing is, people don't understand how to manifest or what manifesting really is. It has nothing to do with outside of yourself. It has nothing to do with getting a car. It has nothing to do with getting the money, because those are temporary highs, man. Those are temporary dopamine highs.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's all about the way we feel in our emotions. Everything is about the way we feel. What would it feel like to have that money? And people are like, oh, I just want the money. They don't know. They're like, I just need that money for this or that. And it's like, but what would that feel like?
Yeah.
It has to be, you have to feel those feelings. You have to feel like you already have it, because in physics, it's proven that every time it like our conception of time and perception of time is that it's linear, that it's not this thing that there's past and there's future. But physics proves that time is happening all at once. So it's like if you want something or you have something or you want like a specific thing or whatever, it's like you already have it. And that's when you have faith that you have it and you feel the feelings. Yeah. But, you know, it gets complicated because you can't, that comes into the thing of free will, of like everyone else's free will. It's like you can't force someone to come into your life. Like some of the things that I teach are along the lines of the law of attraction are Stoic values, Stoicism. And Stoicism, I know Stoic is like, to a lot of people, it seems like cold and that it's like a rigid kind of thing, but it's not. It's like really focusing on your joy, focusing on how your actions can affect your community, help your community, and how you can be a better, like how you can help for the greater good of your community, of not just the community, just like the world or whatever your community is.
Yeah.
And, but also going with the flow of nature because, you know, there's friction that happens
naturally. Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, you can't force someone or something to happen. It just, when it naturally happens, that's God right there.
You know, I you know, thinking about it, you know, there's so much to take in about your story, and I think it's awesome, and it's such a blessing to have you in here, dude. Like, thanks. For real, got a huge smile on your face. This has been awesome, man. I've been enjoying this so much. But you know, you did what you thought was right. You know, you went to school, you became a nurse. I'm sure you were amazing at it. I can just tell.
Yeah.
You know, you were in this marriage, you got a divorce, you know, all of these things, not feeling good enough, and then here all of a sudden comes this outlet, you know, through the art of, you know, the pole and everything that you learned about it, and finding yourself in almost like a sense, at least to me, it seems like that was like the first time that you had like a sense of freedom and a sense of peace in your life. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, to a certain extent. It wasn't like the pole that made me feel a certain way. Like I have experienced relief from like the trauma that I've experienced that I've held on to, and relief from like pain and like my past pain within the past like 2 years of my life. And it's for multiple different practices that I've done. And it was like all leading up to it. Like I'm not telling everyone you need to start pole dancing. It's not that. I think that aerial dance is amazing, and it's like because you're in the.
Is that what it's called? Is aerial? Dance?
Yeah, because in the apparatus is that it's pole, lyra, silks, hammock, or trapeze.
Yeah.
It's like along the lines of gymnastics and dance.
Yeah.
It's so freeing because like you're in the air and you're doing like you transform your body over time to do like certain things. And it's just like, so like, whoa, like I can do that. Wow. This is crazy. It's like, you know, a lot of people think it's like, I can't do that. And I used to think I couldn't do that, but I kept trying. And within 6 months,
I believe.
Yeah.
She who says seriously, she can and she who says she can't are both usually
like, right. I think if you're able to walk, you can do pole. If you're in a wheelchair, you can do pole. Like to a certain extent, you know, it's like people who have physical capability, they can do pole. And it's not just pole or aerial dance. It's really moving your body and moving trauma out of your body. Like when I would dance, I started becoming really emotional, and I'm like, why do I feel this way? And it's because I'm releasing trauma.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just by getting it out, by expressing
just
your body.
Moving. Yeah. It's because, so we have these things called fascia in our body. So it's like we have our muscles, and then it's like fascia is like a very thin layer like between our muscles that it can either be hard, it can be like difficult, but it's supposed to be flexible. It's supposed to be like, I don't want to say spongy, but you should be able to move it.
Yeah.
But because of us sitting, being on our phones, holding in trauma, just sitting and not doing anything, like not expressing our body, it gets hardened, and those emotions get stuck in that. And over time, that leads to illness. It's expressed as illness.
So what would you, for somebody who's, you know, listening that may be at the other end of the spectrum, right? I mean, maybe they've gone through these severe traumatic experiences growing up. You know, maybe they feel self-conscious about themselves, or they have no self-worth.
Yeah.
And listening to you talk seems like they're hearing an alien speak, because this is all language and things that they've never heard.
Yeah.
They've never heard anyone give that type of love. What, if any, type of step, like what would be the first thing that you would say to them?
Well, I just want to say first is that I completely understand. I don't know everyone's situation, but I have been, like all of our stories look different, but I have been in very extremely low places and extremely high places as well. And I've experienced those low feelings of self-worth, no love, rejection, just so much hate. Like I've experienced those things. And with those things, I've been able to, you have to transmute these feelings, those emotions, those sensations that you have of hatred, of low self-worth, self-hatred, whatever judgment that you have to learn to transmute those feelings. And it's a little bit complicated. It's like, take it slow. There's so many things that I personally did, but I've developed like a system that involves natural nervous system and hormonal regulation. Naturally, I have developed a system to regulate these things. We have to regulate our nervous system and our hormones. We have to do inner child work, and we have to get connected with God.
Oh man. Man, that's so dope, dude.
There's so many things. It's like focusing. Again, I don't like sweeping things under the rug. I'm not saying to neglect those feelings, but if you look at a baby, babies know how to regulate their nervous system. When they feel something, they let it loose. They cry, they scream, no shame. And it's like a lot of people say kids are psychopaths, because you see the kids like has a temper tantrum and literally 1 second after it passes, they're happy again.
Yeah.
Being happy is natural. Being healthy is natural. Being sick is not normal. It's not natural to be sick. It's not natural to be depressed. It's not natural to be sad and all of these lower vibration emotions for a long period of time. It's not natural to feel that way. It is natural to be happy. It is natural to be healthy. So we have to learn to regulate our nervous system. Okay. When you have an emotion, say you're angry, you have to let that out. And it's not letting it out towards someone else, but letting it out to something else around you in a safe space, not hurting yourself, not hurting anyone else, but just letting your anger out in a way that is safe for you. Okay. Screaming in a pillow, punching a pillow, running is, you experience so many hormonal things when you run, when you work out, when you do like you have to physiologically change your body to feel a different way.
Do you feel like it's important for people to get out in nature when they are working out, not just stay in the gym?
Yeah, I think, I do yoga and Pilates every day, and I stretch. And so I know it sounds like a lot, but it's just like a total of an hour.
Yeah.
I do my best to get out in nature. But that's not something that I do all the time. I do live downtown, and I'm about 10 minutes away from nature. I try about 2 to 4 days a week, I go to a mountain. I have a specific regime. I wake up between like 4 and 5 every day.
Yeah.
And I do specific things to regulate my nervous system.
That's good.
And it's important that you do get out into nature and that you have a healthy, I think overall healthy relationships with everything is very important. Like, especially with technology and the way we handle trash. These are like I have like a specific system that I've created of the way I think the world should be. It's not the only way, but my way is like really peaceful, and it's benefiting Mother Earth and humanity.
Yeah. Dude, and also at the same time, it's offering a new path for somebody who's never had the opportunity to think about anything different.
Yeah.
To look at you and to think and see the things that you've done to make yourself better and be like, well, I'm going to try that, and maybe it'll work for them. And maybe they're like, holy shit, like I never thought about thinking about something like that. Over the last few years, since that situation that I told you earlier, when that happened for the first time in my life is when I started experiencing depression, right? And at one point in my life, I was taking SSRIs, different things to try and regulate. And I remember at one time when I had missed a dose was the first time in my life that I had a suicidal ideation. Like it was rough, right? Since then, completely no medications. I don't take Adderall. I don't take none of that stuff no more, right? But now that is the Achilles heel is the fact that every now and then these feelings of depression come in, and my life is great. But what I'm trying to say is, even though everything is great, they still get those bouts with the depression, right? So like for you, what would be something that you would have for me to do? Like what helps you with the depression?
I don't experience depression anymore, thank God. But there are times where I experience bouts of sadness and low self-worth. And when I do, I'm not perfect, but I try to do this as much as possible. Breath work is one thing. You have to physiologically change your state to feel a different way. So breath work and inner child work and connection with God. So like that, I went to Peru. I swear my life is like a movie. I have so many like amazing things that I experience and that I get to do. And I'm just so blessed. And I'm so like grateful that life has made its way and it's improved for me so much, because, it's like, I don't want to paint the picture that or that anyone, not just me, but that anyone has to come from suffering to experience joy. It's like, you can come from a really good spot. You can come from money. You can come from like having abundance, and extending that throughout your life. But it's like, I used to be really poor and I came from an abusive home, but it's like, there's more to me than that. Okay. But all of it goes back to my childhood. Why is it that I feel bad about myself because of someone else or because of something outside of me? And it really comes down to doing inner child work. And I go back to times when I was a little girl and I felt afraid, I felt abandoned, and that I was like being abused, like those scary times where we're being hurt or someone's like taking advantage of our body. I go back to those times, even though they're hard, I go back to them and I sit with myself and I hold myself and I just pass like complete compassion and understanding. And another thing I experienced in my childhood was abandonment. Like my parents, like I was alone a lot. Like after my parents got divorced, I was left home a lot. They didn't do anything with me. I don't know where my dad was at the bar. My mom, I don't know where she was, but I was alone a lot. Like after school, during the week, I had a lot of play dates, but like when it came to, being in middle school and like things change, it's like, it's all about the way you look. And like, I had a lot of friends, but I was alone a lot. So what I do is I go back to that time and I take myself, like I go surprise myself, like myself right now, my age. I go back to my childhood and I go and get my little self and I surprise her and I say, I take her out of the situation that she was in, that she didn't want to be in. And I say, let's go camping. Let's go to this Ferris wheel. Let's go to the circus, or let's go do something fun.
Oh man. I got to give a shout out to therapist April that works here. She has a technique very similar with the child work, talking about how she likes to go back and talk to those different versions of herself that were hurt. Some were hurt at younger years. Some were hurt in young adolescence. Some were hurt right when she got married, in her 20s. And then, and each part of those needs a healing, every single part of it, and I think it's beautiful. It's reminds me a lot of what you're talking about. But like, so did you get that perspective from like a book or from therapy, or like what allowed you to see that type of a perspective, and how could somebody start with the inner child work? Like, I
do it as best as I can. I'm not perfect. Part of like what I do for myself and what I teach in my coaching business is nervous system regulation, because our neurons are trained. We train our neurons to follow a certain pathway, to think certain thoughts and to feel certain emotions. So it's really retraining your nervous system so that instead of like turning to the addictive behaviors like escapism or whatever, or like drugs or whatever it is, instead of turning to those things, turn to doing things like breath work, inner child work, other things that bring you joy, like art. there's so many things that come along with it. Just like the system that I've developed. It's like I learned it I got life coaching about 3 years ago. And that was one of the huge pivotal things that helped me too. It was like first started with my fitness, started working out and stretching. And then it just kind of landed into my lap to meet this woman. Her name is Lana. We went to high school with her. She has a coaching business, Lana Kayla. I think her last name's Gonzalez.
Okay. We got to get her on the show.
Hey, I mean, you could reach out to her. She changed my life like crazy.
Wow.
Like she challenged me and changed my perspective. She like questioned a lot of the things that like my belief systems, because I used to have completely different belief systems before that were so like, I look back and I was like so erratic and like unhealthy and unstable. And she just, getting a life coach really, really fucking helped me.
Wow.
And she introduced this stuff to me, but I didn't really do it or understand at that time.
Is she online?
Yeah. I didn't really implement all of these like suggestions because it's so much. It's like when you're born, you're coming to this world and you're just like, whoa,
yeah,
what is this world? And that's like coming into spirituality. You're coming into a world that you have no idea. It's like you're stepping into the unknown. So it's a lot of like concepts. She's kind of
wait,
like,
I do have her as a friend.
Yeah.
Oh, her.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I worked with her for about a year or 6 months.
Okay.
And 6 months at one time. And then another time I worked with her for another like 3 or 6 months. But I
have her as a friend on here. I'm going to have to reach out to her.
Yeah, no, she's really amazing. She does like astrologic stuff. She does something called the human design. There's a whole lot to it. It has to do with like your chakras, your astrology, your symbol, like what time you were born, when you were born, where you were born.
Okay.
It's like a whole encompassing thing with astrology and space.
Okay. I mean, I think if it could offer a perspective for somebody to search inner and find something for them, then
it's a whole lot.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it can be a little bit overwhelming, but I don't know. I just became addicted to learning about the spiritual world.
Wow.
And I've been addicted ever since. And it's like, I know it can be difficult at times, but it's good because it's like, I'm trying to do all of these things outside of me and all these things with like my physical body and to try to heal my pain.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think trauma plays a huge role in that stuff too. I mean, you hear about people that are abused and they either become abusers themselves or whatever it may be, you know. It's very, very deep rooted, and that's why it's so important to know how to approach and speak to people in this type of world, especially because so many people have gone through so many horrible experiences, you know. But I truly do believe that, you know, anything, even sex, food, we talked about that earlier, all these things, if it becomes a stronghold on you, then it's game over. Like you cannot allow that type of shit to take control. Yeah. You know what I mean? So good for you for doing that too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's, I think it's important to meet people with the energy that they're coming with, because one thing I learned from nursing, especially being a nurse in Brooklyn, in Brooklyn, you can't.
Biggie.
I need to get some coffee. No, I'm kind of a New Yorker, but I'm a spirit having a human experience. I've had a lot of instances where my life was threatened and I survived it. And nothing happened to me because I met that person with their energy. It's like, if you're going to meet struggles with someone else with energy, like with addiction, you have to face your demons with the energy that you're being given. Fight fire with fire. Someone who cannot hear it's not going to hear it. You have to meet them at their level of energy. You have to meet them at their level. Yeah,
I get that completely. I mean, that's a lot of, you know, what we do here is, you know, a lot of people that work here and are in active recovery now, you know, but it's like, you got to meet them where they're at. You got to understand where they're at and then help them make that change from that point. So what are the pillars again, from everything, from this whole conversation, everything we talked about? What are the pillars that people need to be working on?
Nervous system and hormonal regulation, naturally regulating those systems. Okay. Doing inner child work and having a higher connection or a connection with the higher power, whoever it is for you. Like on the way over here, I was listening to a reggae station, and I don't know, a lot of Americans or people from the U.S. I don't like saying Americans because Mexico is included in that, and so is Canada, and so is South America. So it's like we're all Americans here, honestly, because it's North and South America. But politically speaking, in the U.S., a lot of us just listen to reggae, or what? Not all of us listen to reggae, but like people here listen to reggae and they're just like, oh, it's about that. But reggae sings all about love and God. They say Jah is God. And I was listening to the song on the way over here, and it was like, if Jah is behind me, why would I be worried? I need to be like joyful. Those weren't the exact words, but it was just like about being happy and not worried because God is always with us. And that's like what Jamaica, people in Jamaica teach, or just like the culture there. I've never been to Jamaica, so I could be completely wrong. But the whole reggae movement, what Bob Marley taught was love.
Yep.
And it's like, don't be blinded by loving everyone. It's like we have to have specific values for how we're going to be treated and who we're going to allow, because we can't allow everyone in our life. People want to cross us.
It's true. It's true. I'm trying to think of the song. I think I know what it is. It a Bob Marley song?
It wasn't Bob Marley. Actually,
it wasn't.
I Shazammed it. Let me.
It was makes me think of that song where he's talking about building a family and letting Jah. Don't let them fool you. It's not that one.
No, it's actually by Tony Rebel, and it's called Jah is by my side.
Tony
and
Rebel.
Jah is God. That's the way. So God has different names. It can be Allah. In Arabic, it's Allah. Spanish, it's
Yahweh.
Yahweh. That's in the Judaism. Spanish, Dios. It's every language is different, of course, but in terms of English, there's just like so many different ways. Every single language has a different way to say God.
Yeah.
God is everywhere.
Absolutely.
And everything. It's within us.
Man, I mean, it has been an absolute pleasure, dude, to have you in here. And, you talked a little bit about your social media stuff. What kind of stuff are you working on right now? Like, I know you're working on the PhD, but if people that are listening to this right now and they want to go find you, and how can they do that? Yeah,
you can find me on YouTube. My YouTube is at Jessae, so Jesssae. Okay. And I'm on Twitter, Instagram. I have TikTok, but I think TikTok's getting canceled pretty
Maybe.
soon.
Lord, I hope it doesn't, because
TikTok changed my life.
It's pretty dope.
It wasn't the only thing, but it was a component that helped me evolve.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So
I'm hoping. Cross your fingers, guys. Maybe some regulations, but I love it.
If it is canceled, I'm just so grateful for the time that I had on it, because I learned so much from TikTok.
Yeah.
And I had so much fun on it.
Yeah, for real. That's like when Vine died. That shit made me so sad.
I love Vine. But the thing is like, back to everything in moderation. It's like we have these, like, we're getting all these outlets for everything. And it's not just like it's me too. Like, I do this too. I have learned to have a very healthy relationship with technology, but sometimes I get stuck back in it because we're constantly changing. We have our hormones are constantly moving around. We're crazy people.
Yeah. No, but it's all good. But it's awesome. I mean, and so like, if anybody listening out there,
sorry, back to
no, you're good. But what I'm saying, like, for anybody listening out there, do you mind if they hit you up?
I would love it if anyone contacts me. I would love it. I have a website. It's called magneticsoulhealing.org.
Okay.
That's a new website.
I like that.
Yeah, I just developed it the other day, literally.
That's a good
I've been working on it since December it was so funny. One of my roommates in New York called me and was like, hey, do you need a website? And I was like, you know what? I don't know, but I'm going to say yes. And then I just developed this magnetic soul healing way system or whatever within the last 3 months. So magneticsoulhealing.org is my coaching website. But you can find me on YouTube at Jessae, Jesssae. You can find me on Instagram. It's Jespecial, Jespeciall. So 3 L's.
Okay.
Jespecial, Jespeciall. So 3 L's.
Okay, I got you. And guys, make sure in the show notes of this episode, I'm going to have all of these up so that way you can find her easily.
I do have a podcast too.
Oh yeah.
I have another podcast. It's Magnetic Soul Healing.
Magnetic Soul Healing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There you go. You guys, love what she's talking about. You want to, speak with her and have her more in your life. It gives you a perfect way to be able to have her in your ear all the time.
Please.
So that's cool.
I'm so grateful that you invited me on here, and I thank you so so much for you just being you. And I feel that, I don't know like your perception of yourself, but I feel like you were a perfect example, like when I was a kid, of how to be authentic and how to be yourself. And I just really appreciate that. And I love that. Like, I've always been a fan of yours and I've always supported you. And yeah, I'm just so beautiful that we rekindled or we reconnected.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the same here, man. I mean, we work in an environment that's it could be really hard at times. So to be able to touch base with old friends that are doing fantastic, and especially living in higher vibrations and doing fantastic things throughout the community and for themselves, like it's a huge blessing to know that you're doing so good. And you know, hopefully we can get you in here for a part 2.
I would love that.
All right.
I would love it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you give it up to Jesseca KB. Yes. And also to Sakura. There you go. She's awesome, man. You know, for all the listeners out there, come here. All right, she's so sweet. She came up to me right now, letting me pet her. You know, for all the listeners out there, you know, I hope you got something valuable out of that. If you guys got any questions, any of you guys want to come on to the show and speak a testimony, whatever it may be, like I said, and like always, the show notes are going to be in the episode. And then, you know, if you guys have any positive affirmations for Jesseca, you can hit her up directly, or you can send it in here and I'll make sure that she gets it. But until next time, man, thank you guys very much. Much love. God bless over everything. And we will definitely see you on the next one.
Thank you so much.
Peace.
Bye.
What's going on, everybody? This is Buddha from the Arcast, and I just wanted to thank you for checking out this week's episode. It means a lot, and if you could share it with a friend or a loved one, somebody in need in recovery, or maybe somebody who just needs that little bit of extra positivity in their life, we'd greatly appreciate it. If you would like to join us here on the Arcast, either in the studio live or online, hit us up. The links are down in the show notes of this episode, and on there, you can find direct links to our main website here at America's Rehab Campus and all of our social media platforms. Follow us. We keep the posts positive and motivational, focused on recovery, health, and wellness. As you know, in this modern day and age, we need as much love as possible, y'all. And as always, if you or somebody you know is in need of substance abuse treatment, please don't hesitate to give us a call. We're open 24 hours a day, and our direct phone number is 1-833-272-7342. Once again, that phone number is 1-833-272-7342. I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your day. Much love and God bless. Peace.